Every year, cars seem to get better and better. With more advanced technology, sleek designs, and improved fuel efficiency, the automobile industry looks bright and full of possibilities. We're always looking forward to the exciting innovations on the horizon. But have you ever stopped to think about the car features that used to be popular but are now extinct? Well, get ready to take a trip down memory lane. Today, we'll take a look at 8 car features that used to be all the rage but are now relics of the past. Rev up your engines, and let's look at the evolution of cars and features that no longer exist. First up, let's talk about a feature that has gone the way of the dinosaurs. Have you ever heard someone say roll down the windows and wondered where the expression comes from? Modern-day automobiles generally have a push button to open the windows to outside airflow. But before automatic window operations, there were manual crank windows. Manual crank windows were a staple in cars for decades, while power windows were first invented around the 1940s. Manual crank windows were the standard in most cars up until the 1980s. Manual crank windows are exactly what they sound like. They involve rotating a lever clockwise or counterclockwise to open or close windows. And while cranked windows may seem like a huge hassle today, they were actually quite an advancement when they were first introduced. Before manual crank windows, drivers had to rely on straps and cords to open and close windows. It's pretty crazy to think about all the things that save us time and energy every day, and today's power windows are a perfect example. Do you know what was common to see sticking out of the window? A cigarette in someone's hand. That's right. Back in the day, many people drove with cigarettes in their hands. Before smoking rates declined, it was totally normal to light up a cigarette in the car. You just had to use the built-in cigarette lighter. Car manufacturers included a little cylindrical device, usually in the center console or dashboard, for smokers to use on the go. All you had to do was flip it open, press a button, or turn a knob, and boom, instant flame. And when you needed a place to dispose of ashes while consuming your tobacco product, there was conveniently an ashtray. The ashtray was also usually located in the center console, or sometimes on the door panel, and would be used to store cigarette ashes or butts while driving. Eventually, the hazards of smoking became widely recognized, and laws against smoking in public places were implemented. Nowadays, it's rare to find ashtrays or cigarette lighters in cars, as smoking in vehicles has become increasingly taboo, and many states have laws prohibiting it. Ashtrays and cigarette lighters serve as a reminder of the power that societal attitudes and laws have in determining the features of our vehicles. Now let's talk audio. Depending on which generation you're from, you may remember the super long antennas that used to stick out of the tops of cars. If you don't, let's jog your memory. Long radio antennas were a common feature on older cars and were used to improve the reception of AM and FM radio signals. They were typically mounted on either the roof or trunk of the car and could be manually extracted or retracted as needed. They almost looked like an exclamation mark sitting on top of a car. So why were they used? Radio signals were weaker and prone to more interference, so antennas help get clear tunes into your car. However, technology has come a long way since those days, so most cars either have a very short antenna or no antenna at all, as they use a fancy tech called diversity reception. Do you remember seeing those classic long antennas? Speaking of audio, most of today's modern vehicles can play songs from your phone. While things like tape decks and CD players might feel nostalgic, digital media players are far more convenient than having to fumble around with stacks of tapes or risk having a scratched CD. The cassette deck was common in cars up until the 2000s, when CDs replaced most tape players in cars. But today's modern cars have sleek digital media players, which simply plug into your phone or can just connect through Bluetooth to access all your favorite songs or podcasts. Plus, if you're feeling old-fashioned, most cars can still stream music from the radio. Car audio just continues to get better and better. Did you know that cars of yesteryear often didn't have individual seats, even in the front? Bench seats were once a common feature in cars, especially in the 1950s and 1960s. They're called bench seats because they're long and flat, like a bench you might find in a park. You might have seen these types of seats on school buses. They were often found in front of cars and could seat 3 people across. Bench seats were especially popular because they were inexpensive to produce and allowed for the maximum amount of people to be seated in a small space. That said, they didn't offer much comfort or support. Additionally, safety concerns played a role in the decline of bench seats. Individual seats with seatbelts are considered safer than bench seats, and airbags can provide better protection with individual seats. Today's modern cars have individual seats that are called bucket seats. These seats are more stylish and offer more support. It may seem like car doors have always been the same, but actually, rear hinged doors were once the ultimate sign of cool and sophistication. Today, they are a dying breed in the automotive world. These doors were once the envy of all car enthusiasts, but are no longer as common as they once were. Rear hinged doors are exactly as they sound. A second pair of doors hinge in the rear part, but they open in opposite directions from the front doors. While these doors are undoubtedly stylish and oh so chic, they were far too much of a hassle for the average car manufacturer. They're expensive and impractical to make. Plus, just imagine trying to load a stroller into the back seat. Rear hinge doors became quite the safety hazard, earning them the name suicide doors. There was a time when every car came equipped with a spare tire, just in case of a flat, but those days are long gone. It turns out spare tires are far too cumbersome for the average car manufacturer. Spare tires take up valuable trunk space and, well, just aren't the most attractive accessory. Plus, technology has improved, and now we have things like run-flat tires and tire repair kits, so the need for a spare tire has become less pressing. If you do panic at the thought of being stranded on the side of the road, you could still have peace of mind by having a spare tire in your car, but with cell phones to easily contact tow trucks, you don't need to rely on having a spare. And last but not least, we'll look at another way technology has improved modern-day vehicle keys. Most of today's modern vehicles have made exterior keyholes a thing of the past. Trying to unlock a keyhole in the dark, jam a key into a stubborn lock, or unlock your car with gloves on is a huge inconvenience, especially in the dark. But with the rise of keyless entry systems, it's as easy as a simple touch or wave to unlock your car. We've come pretty far in terms of car security and convenience. Most key fobs don't even include a physical key anymore. The car unlocks itself with no key required. It's like magic. As the car industry continues to evolve and change, it's interesting to see which features stand the tests of time and which ones become a thing of the past. Many features that were once thought to be ahead of their time have eventually been replaced by more advanced technologies. Others were simply novelties that never caught on. Regardless of their fate, all of these features help to shape the cars that we love and know today. Which features do you remember? We'd love to hear in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating car facts.